Hey guys, and welcome to the Manc Gamer. And the question today is Wuchang Fallen Feathers a good game? And has it improved since launch, or has it got worse? I have just finished the game on New Game Plus and felt like now would be a good time to throw my opinion out there. This is after the patch 1.5, which is the most recent one, and it's upset a few people, but we will get into that a little later on. Firstly, if you don't know what Wuchang is, it's a Souls-like in the truest sense, really. It's more similar in style to Sekiro, but it did remind me a lot of the first Dark Souls in its approach and world around it. The story in a nutshell is that you play as Wuchang. You're woken up and have a bit of amnesia, and don't seem to know who or where you are. You have been infected with something called the Feathering, but you haven't turned into a monster yet, which seems to be the case for everybody else. So your goal is to beat all the big baddies in your path and figure out who you are, basically, and to see if you can find your lost sister. So let's start with the positives of the game, shall we? The world around you is absolutely stunning at times, and you can tell a lot has gone into this in terms of trying to make it look as authentic to a Chinese mythology as possible. It's certainly one of the best looking Souls-likes, that's for sure, especially in recent few years anyway, I'd say. This also extends to the characters and the bosses. They are varied and as weird and wonderful looking as you would expect. One of the great things about Wuchang is that it doesn't seem like you fight in the same thing just in a different skin over and over. Each enemy poses their own challenge, and some small enemies are just as much challenge as some of the bosses, which can be mega annoying if you're far away from a shrine. A shrine is basically your safe haven. Speaking of bosses, these are a mix of humans, animals, and downright just freaky looking abominations. The good thing about these bosses is that each one will require a different approach. And they all have that Souls-like magic. You know, you just beat one and it's just like a buzz. And you're just like, yes, get in. They still have that spark to it, which is great. Now, one of the best things about Wuchang, and certainly something I don't recall seeing in any other Souls-like, is the ability to respect all your skill points and put them into a completely different skill path whilst not being punished for doing so either. If you want to start with a long sword build, but then feel like, you know what, I want to switch it up and then go for a spear build, you can do that. Feel like you're bored of using the axe and want to be more of a mage instead, you can do it. It's a great little addition, and I personally love to see it in more Souls-like, so I think it's just a great addition, yeah. Now, we do have to talk about the bad. Thankfully, there's not much. Before the patch, I think there was some unfairness in the game, let's say. Like, it should not take more than 3 seconds to heal, for instance. And also, you could not cancel the heal, so you would just get absolutely pummeled if you mistime this. This has been patched, and you can heal much quicker, and you can also cancel a heal, so you can dodge roll out of it and to get away. So yeah, that's a lot better and made things a lot more fair, I think. Secondly, they fixed the animation where if you got knocked down, then you was basically dead. There was more chance of you dying if you got knocked down, even if you had almost full health, than there was getting up. I mean, you'd be up to the floor, and it was just pure luck if you got knocked up, basically. This has now been given a little bit of respite, and deservedly so, I would say. Some people have issues with these 2 patch fixes and think it makes the game far too easy. It doesn't make the game that easy. It makes it slightly bit more fair, which I think is a good thing. So these people are just talking absolute nonsense. Now, the one bad thing that can't be fixed with a patch, unfortunately, is the exploration. unfortunately, as beautiful looking as the game is, it still annoys you when you go for a little wander around to see what hidden paths will reward you with, and you get there and it's something poor like, I don't know, like throwing knife that you already have 40 of. There's also no mini map either, which might frustrate some people, but if I'm being totally honest, these are only little flaws in an otherwise quality game, in my opinion, especially in terms of the Souls. Like, I mean, because there's that many coming out, they're not always great at it. So this one, to me, it's up there for me. It's in top 5, I would say. Now, the other thing in the patch is something to do with the human bosses. And when you kill them, they just stand still. Instead of turning into feathers or disappearing or whatever, they just stand there chilling with you, which is a bit weird. But people have said the game's gone woke because of it. But I think it doesn't really affect the gameplay, it doesn't affect the story, it doesn't affect it in a bad way at all. So I wouldn't change my view on the game just because of this. Now, I would personally give it probably about an 8.5 out of 10, close to a 9. And I'd say it's up there with the likes of Sekiro, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, the high-end ones. So if you're a big Souls fan like me, it's a must-buy. So that's it for today. Thanks for sticking around and watching the Manc Gamer, and hopefully see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.